to be here. And you know what I love? This and that. Video game music. The easiest topic to bring up if you want to exclude deaf people from the conversation. So, as you can probably assume, I'm pretty into video game music. And it is, debatably, one of the most important parts of video games. Now, some of you may be saying, but Finlay, it can't be that important, can it? And first of all, I'd have to ask, why are you speaking to your screen? This isn't Dora the Explorer. And second, can you imagine opening up Wii Sports and just being greeted by this? Yeah, all of a sudden the definition for the word anarchy has changed to now. Although, as I've stated, video game music is very important in video games, many developers don't really agree with me. That's why it's such a gamble whether your new game's gonna have music which keeps your foot a tapping, or makes you have a mental breakdown. And a lot of you may not know this, but there's a large amount of people who believe that Van Gogh cut off his ear after hearing the DK rap.
If you wanna clap, as we taste your crew, this monkey rap. He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. He's finally back to kick his coconut gun. Can fire in spurts if he shoots.
Now, video game music wasn't always as prominent as it is now. For example, in the beginning days of the arcade games, music was very limited. And by limited, I mean Pong's only song was the sound my gran made before we unplugged her. Why do you think there's no soundtrack in the Pong Collector's Edition? Some arcade cabinets did have some music, but it was mostly little jingles. But then Nintendo arrived and was like, what if we added sound? And the rest of the gaming industry was like, holy shit! And so, of the NES, video game music became a lot more prevalent, leading to many classics still used today, such as the Legend of Zelda theme, and the Super Mario Bros. Theme. Now, all this is great, woohoo, not pure silence. It was still very basic. Most games had just a singular tune carried out throughout most of the game, or had, at the very most, split tunes between very large portions of the game, which was fine at the time, but it was getting quite dated around the end of the NES's lifespan, and was getting quite basic. Now, this is where a few video game companies walked in on fellas. What if we had a song, hear me out, lead on to another? And again, the rest of the video game industry was like, and so transformative music was introduced into the video game industry. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, what is transformative music? Now, a lot of you may not notice it because it's, at very best, you shouldn't notice it. Such as in the Monkey Island games, which I'll show you how it works there. So, right now, you're on the dock, and there's a certain tune playing. But as you enter, a transition piece plays, and then it changes song. Now, that is pretty much where video game music is now. There's not been any more great innovations, really. Of course, the style of music has changed quite a bit, but there's one thing I haven't mentioned. With these old games, and mostly in PC games, I've noticed, they didn't know what kind of sound quality you would have. So, some big brains over in the industry decided they would, with some black witch magic, make it sound different on different technology. So, for example, here's the Monkey Island theme on what it is a very bad old computer speaker. It's trying its best, but it's pathetic. What about if I connected it to a real speaker for real men? There's some Damians around here, Jonathan. Get out the Bible. I hope this has been a good new kind of style of video. You can probably tell I've changed it up a bit from my past uploads. So if you do enjoy this new style, make sure to hit that little thumb button, and if you don't mind hitting the little red button, which will be on my face, if you don't know what it looks like somehow. And I'll see you lot later.